everybody, and we are back. Let's see if we can wrap up these last few questions in this video, because I don't want to just, be just boring everybody to tears. Oh, man. Alright, so let's look at this. Alright. So then question 13 is asking, which one of the following cannot be true? And we have this little long list, right? Hedge trimming is fourth, jogging is fourth, These are really, I would absolutely put this type of question in specific would be the last one that you would handle. Because unlike 12, where 12 we still had that kind of list of what can't work, we were restricted just to one space, right? It was just space number 3, and we had to play around with that one. This one, it's all over the place, right? It's fourth, second, third, second, so we got 3 different spaces and different things. Too much. The only thing that I would look at, though, is based on what we did, right? From question 12, we wrote out, and just doing A, grocery shopping, we found out that if we put G here, we have K, H, J, M, J, M, L, that would work. So what you can do is take a quick peek and see if there's anything that you can eliminate from 13. Because remember, we're looking for what cannot possibly work. This works, what we have right up here in the purple. So let's see, is there anything here? Hedge is on 4. Nope, that's not there. Jogging is 4. Oh yeah, jogging could be 4, right? Jogging could be right here. We saw that either way. So I know right there I can eliminate that. That's out. Let's see, K is on 2. No, we don't have that there. Laundry is 3. No, that's out. Oh, we can eliminate that one, though, right? Oh, can we eliminate laundry? No, we can't. No, sorry. And M is second. Okay, so there wasn't much that we could eliminate just from the sketch that we did here. So what I would say is, if you were taking the exam, I would put a star on that one and move on. Come back to it later. But let's look at 14 for a minute. Which one of the following activities cannot be fifth? All right, well, I think we can have a little more luck here with being able to eliminate stuff, because here, again, with our game, we know that on space 5, we saw that it's totally okay to have either a J or an M there. So that means I can scratch out C and E. So let's try playing a few of these games here. Again, always go with your most restrictive things, which in this case was the G and the H's. So let's try that first. Let's sketch this out. All right, let's see here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And, oh yeah, let's just double check for a moment. Based on our master sketch, we do know that K can't be on our master sketch. K is not allowed to be on 5. Is that one of our options? Rats. No, it's not. Okay. So let's just try G. Let's see what happens if I put G on number 5. So that would mean I have G right here. And if I put G there, then we know, based on our rules, that H has to come right behind it, right? And we also know that, remember, according to our master sketch up here, space 6 has to be either G or L. So that means if I put G at 5, this has got to be L. All right. Well, that's so far so good. Okay, so then we got that, and let's see. Now, do we violate any rules by putting what are we left with here? We need to do K, J, and M. And it looks like, let's see. Let's look at we know that K, J, and M, there's no restrictions on those first 3 spaces according to our master sketch. So it looks like we could really just put them anywhere, right? We just know that J and M have to be next to each other. K has to be behind this. So, here's a possible scenario. I could put J, M, K. No rules broken. Which means, unfortunately, that means A is not our correct answer, right? We can, in fact, put grocery shopping on 5 and not break any rules. All right, so we just kind of have to keep going. Let's try the next most restrictive thing. B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, head string. If you put H on there, well, then we know that G has to come right after it. We know that for a fact. And we have to have K somewhere behind it. And we also have to have J, M, and L. It looks like, remember, if we're looking for what can't be true, you just have to come up with a scenario where you place those things in and you're not breaking any rules. Well, let's just keep it simple. Let's put K right behind it. That's allowed. Again, double checking our master sketch. Oh, no, we can't put K. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, no, K is on 4 in this situation, and that's fine. There's no restrictions on what 4 can be. And then for our remaining pieces are J, M, and L, right? Well, we know L is not allowed to be on 1 or 2, so that means I'd have to put L over here, and then J or M. Let's just switch it up a little bit. We'll put MJ, and there we go. No rules broken, right? We're fine. So that's out. So, by process of elimination, we know we cannot put L on L cannot go on the 5th. So that's going to be our correct answer. I'm not going to work out why that's the case. You go ahead and you can pause the video and try to use a piece of paper and pencil. In fact, here, I'll scroll right up to you can freeze frame it right here. Here's our master sketch. Just pause it right there and try to see why it is that L could not go on 5. All right. Okay, so anyway, moving on. That's that one. Now, let's go back to 13 just for a minute, because look what we just did here. We played out 2 different scenarios. Let's see if that helps us bump off anything. Hedge trimming is 4. Oh, look at that. We can get rid of that one, because in this game right here, there's our hedge trimming on 4. That is possible without breaking rules. That's out. And then, let's see, K on 2. We don't have that anywhere. D, laundry on 3. Oh, we have that right here. We played this game. Look, see? Laundry could go on 3, so that's out. Anything else? M is on 2nd. Oh, look at this. We're just knocking everything out. Yeah. So M is on 2nd. That's out. So without even playing that game, without even going through any further than that, we know that the answer has to be C. I don't feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse here constantly, but this is really critical in terms of timing on your test. It turns out that as long as you're making your sketches out, you don't necessarily have to play out every single game. You can actually just put a pin in one, come back to it, and look to see if, any of your other sketches that you made out would knock off any answer choices. So yeah, without even working this game out, we know it cannot be the case that K is on 2. I'm not going to play that game out. So actually, does that valid? No, it doesn't. Never mind. I'm not going to demonstrate why that is. Again, pause the video and try it if you're stuck on that. But just based on what we did for the question 14, we were able to knock out those answer choices. All right, so last one, real quickly. 15. Which one of the following, if substituted for the condition that for this condition, motorbike servicing has to be earlier than laundry, would have the same effect? Okay, we didn't talk about this in class, but this is called rule substitution. And really all you have to do, this actually doesn't look that bad, but we'll see, is you think about, okay, what was that rule? M has to be earlier than laundry. That was all the way back right here, right? Motorbike servicing has to be earlier than laundry. If we remove that rule, that we don't have this, they're asking, well, what would have the same effect? So if it's not true, this is not, explicitly stated that M has to be earlier than laundry, so we're going to take this rule out here. Again, remember our rules are kind of this. Our rules are we have to have K, H, G, and the other rule was we had either J or M followed by L. So if we remove this part here, right, if we took that part out, that M has to be earlier than laundry, which of these, if we swapped it in, would still have the same effect, meaning that would still lead us back right to this? Okay? Just pause the video for a moment and think about that. It just means that if we didn't explicitly tell you that M has to be behind L, which of these extra rules would end up leading us right back to that same space, that M has to be behind L? And let's think about this. Okay? So if we want the block to be, J and M have to be right next to each other and right behind L. And let's see, well, we already know from, look at this, yes, don't overthink this. We already know this rule still is right here, right? We know that they didn't say remove that one, so we know that JM, motorbike servicing, has to be either immediately before or immediately after jogging. So let's think about it. We took this part out, but we still have this part. We still have that we need to have J and M right next to each other. So what would I have to add in? What rule would I have to use so that I would end up starting with just JM, that they both have to be next to each other, that it would end up with L having to be after JM? And if you look at it, it looks like it's got to be this one. Kind of leaps right out at you, doesn't it? No pun intended, jogging here. But look at this, think about it. If we say jogging has to be earlier than laundry, and we also know that M has to be right next to J, right? J and M have to be right next to each other. Well, if we put those two rules together, this one and that one, we end up with right back where we started from. J and M have to be behind laundry. Take a moment and just think about that for a minute. This is a really, more on this as we go through, but rule substitution questions, you just want to be very clear about, if I remove this piece, right? So think about when we built this rule right here. Actually, let me switch colors because the purple's getting a little tedious. But think about it. Let's do. Whoops, what did I just do there? Okay, hold on. Okay, let's just go back for a second. So we ended up building this rule. We built up the rule that J and M had to be together and L had to be in front of them. And the way that we built that rule was we constructed it out of two pieces. First piece was M had to be behind L, and the other piece was that J and M had to be right next to each other, right? So if we take those two and added them together, this is what we would end up with, right? But so then the question was asking, all right, but what if I took away one of those parts? What if I removed part 1? All right, so now I'm just down to, I have this rule right here. I have J and M have to be right next to each other. And I want to know, well, what rule would I have to use such that we would end up with this? J and M have to be together. J and M, have to be behind L. So you think about what would go right here so that we could add those pieces together to end up there. And yes, C works immediately, right? If we have the rule J has to be behind L, if we plug that rule in, replace that, J has to be behind L, we could do exactly the same thing. We would know that therefore L has to be in front of J, and J and M are right next to each other, so by extension, L is still in front of M. All right, I feel like I kind of was way over time on that one, but hopefully that makes sense. And that, therefore, will conclude our practice on this particular logic games. Hopefully this was helpful.